In sales, it's the ABCs. Always be closing. In our world, it's the ATCs. Always talk closing. Because we're talking closing again. The Rangers still don't have a closer. Or do they? We've got that story. We've got lots to talk about with you. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast. Feel like that picture is repeatable if the Rangers add that one more piece. They've had a great offseason, and it's repeatable even if they don't add that one more piece. But it sure would help. Hi there. Welcome into the DLLS Sports Studios. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast for me, John Radigan, him, Jeff Wilson, him, Elijah Smith. It's the Prophet, Rads, and J-Dub here. Talking about the Rangers and the closing situation again with you. We've also got a Hall of Fame recap segment, and in that segment, it's the best video you'll see all day. I'm telling you right now, hang out for that. We're going to talk about the Hall of Fame a little later in the program. Let's get to some of the minor leaguers. The Rangers being rewarded for a strong minor league system, and of course, our cleanup segment's always cool too. So we're here for a full hour. We hope you will hang with us for at least that long. And, we may go over, so you never know. We'll see how much we have to talk about. Chat with us, like us, subscribe to us, hang out with us. Jeff published a story today about the closing situation.
Yeah.
And it's, it's just looking more and more like the Rangers won't add a closer. Now, based on everything you wrote today, and we've talked about it a lot, but just looking at all the numbers and everything, I feel like my favorite at this point, if they're going to add in free agency, would be Kenley Jansen.
I mean, he's the one with the most career saves out there, and 447.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
It's stout.
Craig Kimbrell has 440.
He does.
Yeah.
I don't know if I could take Kimbrell. I mean, I don't know if I can
yeah.
watch that 40 times a year, or however many. But in the case of Jansen, what do you have? Only 3 or 4 blown saves last year. I mean, he was effective last year.
Right. The top closer right now is Carlos Estevez, primarily because he's younger. I think.
Yeah.
He had 26 saves, blew 5.
Okay. Well, that's
Jansen
not a bad.
had 27 saves, blew 4.
Blew 4.
So,
okay, they're about the same numbers.
Yeah, and you look at Jansen, obviously a great career earlier in his career at the Dodgers. I remember in 2020, everybody had a screwy year, but he was the closer on the World Series team. But there were a lot of questions: is this guy going to be our closer? That was probably the worst year of his career. Rebounded, had a really great year with the Braves in 22. Last 2 years have been kind of not bad, not good, with the Red Sox, but the velocity this year dipped. The strikeouts per 9 innings dipped. So, he's 37, a little bit younger than Kirby Yates, by 100 days.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah.
So anyway, but I don't know the price range. That's the thing. Now you're looking at Tanner Scott, $18 million a year. You got some of these guys getting $11 and $13 million a year. So
we still haven't seen reports on what Kirby got, have we? Right.
We have
so
not.
You wrote in there he may have taken an inferior offer technically to sign with the Dodgers as opposed to the Rangers.
Yeah, at this point in a career when you're 38 and a closer, I was just kind of wondering, you're kind of you could be going year to year, another good year gets him another big deal, whereas 2 and less now might not be the best for him financially. Not sure, but it'll be interesting to see what shakes out and if the Rangers could have afforded it or not. And we're still not sure where they are officially in regards to the CBT and the luxury tax. One tracker, I swear, has them at 222, and then there's another one that has them at 235. So that's a huge gap, and how much money can they afford? Can they finagle it with a signing bonus? All this stuff, deferred money. So I went through some possibilities today in this story. Well, I started it last night and got tired and finished it this morning. So like the immediate ones, the guys we just talked about, Jansen, Kembrell, Paul Sewald, Kyle Finnegan. Maybe he's good. Native Texan, a little younger. So anyway, we go through those guys. Then what about a kick-ass setup man? How about David Robertson?
Right.
My gosh, what a year he had. He's his own agent, so maybe he can work out a deal on his own. And he did take deferred money last year. The Rangers still owe him some money, but maybe take a little more. And then the best setup guys, it's a real thin crop, and I think we hit on a couple of them yesterday. But Tommy Kahnle, who's with the Yankees, problem is he gets hurt a lot. Daniel Coulombe, who has some fans in our chat, or at least he did yesterday, and then Jacob Junis, another left-hander. Guys who could go out there and do it. And there are a lot of names, but you want somebody with some track record, and just something to feel good about. So, and then kind of to fit our thumbnail about success starts at home. How about John Gray?
Right.
And we keep seeing that name
talked about a lot,
all this stuff, and gosh, I just can't see. I just still don't see it happening based on almost 2 months old information. I guess when we were at the winter meetings, Bruce Bochy and Chris Young were like, no,
they were adamant. They really were
starting pitcher.
Yeah.
All right, great. Despite some people that were there like, this guy'd be a great closer, and he probably would be, but they need the innings, and John's going to be able to give him a good chunk. So then, all right, so that's kind of the immediate look, okay? But a baseball season is very long. There are different times to acquire players, like the trade deadline or waiver wire deal. I don't know. And also guys coming off of injury. So Josh Sborz, hey, what if the Rangers go with what they have now? And then, let's say middle June, Josh Sborz is ready to go. Well, that's another high leverage arm. He, of course, recorded the biggest out in Rangers history. And if he's healthy, he's great.
Well, and internally, a coaching staff, guys in the baseball operations office everywhere have been talking about his stuff as being the best in the organization for years, right? They feel like he's got closer written all over him. Now, in fairness, he hasn't closed a lot. He closed the biggest one ever.
Right.
But he hasn't closed a lot himself. I mean, and there is still that whole mentality. Now, he closed in college.
Right.
So I think he's got the mentality. But it's a different animal, man, getting those final 3 outs, as everybody knows.
Yeah. Well, and he was on the IL 4 times last year.
Yeah.
And he was on it a couple times the year before, so health is always an issue with him, as Misty points out. So that's one option. Then there's, what if Mark Church is great? What if Mark Church develops into something fantastic? Maybe you don't put him at closer, but he's working the 7th or 8th. Well, there's a surprise leverage arm that you didn't expect to have. And, Emiliano Teodo, what if he's kicking butt again, this time in AAA, and, he reprises the role of Neftali Feliz in 2009, just comes up and blows everybody away. So there are options internally, and then there's also trades. Okay, you can trade now. We talked about it yesterday. Helsley, Suarez are possibilities. Then there's the trade deadline. So, you'll know who's not in contention, who is, and the Cardinals aren't going to be in contention. So if they hold on to Helsley, maybe the Rangers can wiggle him free there. And then, another staying in the Central, the Pirates have David Bednar. And the Pirates are getting better. They really are. They have young talent, and they keep getting better and showing signs, but they're still the Pirates.
They are.
And then the Reds. The Reds have Alexis Diaz from Puerto Rico. And again, they are almost in the playoffs in 23. They were expecting to go this year. They have all that great young talent, and they fell flat. So do they want to get rid of these controllable guys? And so it's questionable, but the prices would be right for the Rangers. So we'll see. Benny, don't mess with Teodo's.
I agree with him.
I don't know. At that point, if you're contending, it won't kill him if he spends a few months as a a kick-ass reliever.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, and you're right. That's a decision you make at the end or at midseason if you feel like, oh my gosh, we have a chance, and this guy's got that stuff, and all of a sudden we discover he has that mentality. Sure, you mess with it there, but I think in that case, you still though go right back and put him back to being a starting pitcher because you know this guy again, you know. Jacob deGrom and Nathan Eovaldi and John Gray are going to be gone sooner rather than later, and you need these young arms. You need this wealth of talent that's there, and really that's developed quickly in relative terms.
Yeah, I mean, John Gray's a free agent after this year.
Yeah,
that's another thing. John Gray, in his walk year, probably doesn't want to be a reliever. You know, and I know I talked to him last year, and I was like, do you want to do that? And he goes, well, not really. So, you know, he's very nice about it.
Nice about everything.
Yeah. John's a good guy. And so is his wife. She's great too. Jacqueline, all that they do in the community. So anyway, there are options. Don't give up hope. There's 3 weeks. 3 weeks from today is the first workout for pitchers and catchers at spring training. And then as we've talked about more and more, you know, in the last few years especially, guys aren't signing until March. End of March last year, you know, maybe that was the exception, but there will be guys that the Rangers will probably have interest in who are available after camp starts. Yeah,
and you know, amazingly, it's frustrating because we are able to find out so much information about like teams and payrolls and you know all those kinds of things. To be for a fan base and you know for people who do what we do, to have such disparity on where that Rangers, salary is right now. It's tough. I mean, if they only have $6 million left, they can't get one of these guys.
Right.
But if they have $19 million left, they can, obviously. So
yeah, and we'll talk about the farm system here in a little bit. But the Rangers have some depth, and there are teams who are in rebuild mode or whose farm systems suck, like the Padres, who need talent. And the Padres, Mike Daly's not that far removed from working for the Rangers, so he knows a lot of the prospects. And the Cardinals, well, the Rangers made a deal with them for Jordan Montgomery not that long ago, so they know the farm system. And that's another possibility. The Rangers, if they wanted to move John Gray, they would have to replace the innings. You know? So hey, Jordan Montgomery, they could probably get him pretty cheap.
They probably could. I mean, and again, by what the Diamondbacks have done in the offseason, especially the Burns move. Now they haven't done a lot since then, but what they but they're fighting such an uphill battle in their own division, right? They're still looking up at the Padres, and there's everybody looking up at the Dodgers. That said, all you got to do is get into the tournament, and you never know what might happen. So they may not be as inclined. They might be betting on the upside of Jordan Montgomery, right? They'll have a better year this year.
Yeah.
Because if he has a year like if he has a year like the time he had in Texas, man, you're going to love, your every moment you have with him this year.
Yeah. But what's their rotation? Burns.
They got a good rotation.
They're very, very Gallen.
Gallen second. Yeah,
is very good. Eduardo Rodriguez, Merrill Kelly, then that what was it? Brandon Fatt, PF.
Yeah,
ADT. So I mean that's their five right now.
Yeah, true.
I would trust Jordan Montgomery over Brandon
Fatt.
Give Jordan Montgomery a regular offseason, and I think he's going to be fine. So. But that's something else to consider.
Yeah,
it really is.
Hey, shout out to Dean who weighs in from Australia. Dean, we appreciate you. Good day,
Dean. What time is it in Australia?
Yeah, good day to you as well. There he is, Dean Lester. We appreciate you checking us out all the way from Australia. My guess would be Dean is an expat, if you will, right? He's from there watching Rangers. But if you're from there, Dean,
maybe he's just a big tennis fan.
Yeah.
Aussie Open's going right now.
Yeah, fantastic. So anyway, shout out to Dean. Shout out to all of you. We love hanging out with you. We love chatting with you. And we've got lots to chat about, man. I'm telling you, you don't want to, don't go, grab your lunch right now and miss this video we've got coming up in the next segment. It's one of my favorite things of the day, and it's in reference to the Hall of Fame. Yeah, we wrap up what happened last night and with regard to the Hall of Fame and the ballots next. DLLS Rangers podcast.
But first, it's time to talk flooring. Like we do multiple times a week, and Empire Today is the place that everybody needs to go. They've just been around for so long. You trust them. They're a name you know. And if you go to EmpireToday.com DLS, you get $350 off your new floors. So they make it easy. You don't even have to leave your house. You can schedule a free in-home estimate today. Use that code DLLS for $350 off. They have a virtual floor designer. You can just hold up your camera and the floor that you want, and they'll apply it, and you can see what it's going to look like. It's so much better than shopping at a big box store where, as I always say, somebody might have just sold somebody else a toilet, and now they're here to talk floors with you. Nope, that's all Empire Today does. Carpet, flooring. Go check them out. Again, EmpireToday.com/DLLS for $350 off, but schedule that free in-home estimate.
Hey, Game Time is such a great app, and there's lots of Mavs home games left in this month, as there are Stars home games upcoming, and of course other things like the which we're going to talk about more tomorrow, the East-West Shrine Bowl coming up next week. Right here in DFW. So make sure you go to Game Time to get your tickets. You can get up to 60% off on those Game Time tickets if you kind of wait till the last minute. So I'm not encouraging that necessarily, but know that even if you look now and you see the prices are way too high, hold on a minute. If you can be flexible, do it later in the process rather than sooner, and you get a lot more money off. Game Time's such a great app. You can see from our box on the screen there, you get to see exactly which seat you have, and they got a great guarantee if anything happens with the event. So go to GameTime.com, use the code DLLS, and get $20 off your first purchase on Game Time. So the Hall of Fame was yesterday, and the announcement came. Only 3 get in this year, Jeff. And, again, that's it goes back and forth.
It's a good number.
Yeah, it's a good number. Sometimes you get these bigger classes. This is a class of 3, all 3 exceedingly worthy. And, the Ichiro thing, I said it yesterday late in the program. I just think there's somebody out there who will not vote for Ichiro. And there was.
Yeah.
One guy. Otherwise, Ichiro would have been unanimous.
Yeah. The Baseball Writers Association is made up of the voting. You need to be in there for 10 years, so that narrows the field considerably. I think we're around a little over 400 voters now for the Hall of Fame. I revealed mine Monday. So did T.R. Sullivan. Anthony Andro, he showed his yesterday. I didn't see how many votes Ian Kinsler got, but the 3 of us voted for him. He didn't make it to 5.5 to 5% to stay on for another year.
He got 10.
You got 10 total votes? Okay.
He got 2.5%.
Well, all right. Anyway, not surprising, but I was just trying to.
He did get the most of any of the guys that didn't make it.
There we go.
Yeah, right. He got the most of any of the guys that didn't make it. I was surprised that both of the other second basemen in the balloting, neither of them made it. Both were significantly ahead of him, though, in Chase Utley and Dustin Pedroia.
Right. Yeah. But it was a big drop off from the first 3 to Utley.
Yes.
I mean, next year I think it's a very good possibility. Well, I take that back because Andrew Jones was up there. He's probably going to make it next year. Excuse me for that burp. It's this damn bubbly water. But anyway, and Carlos Beltran, he
was close too. Yeah.
So I think that it may be 2 next year, and then of course there's the Veterans Committee this year. Who did they select? Dave Parker and
Dick Allen.
Dick Allen, who they selected him posthumously.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, the three who got in, Ichiro. I mean, the guy who did not. Anyway, going back to my beginning about who votes in the BBWA, one of the 400 plus chose to make it about himself.
He did.
Or herself.
That's exactly. Could be a woman.
We do have
that's
ladies
exactly
who
right.
vote.
And what you fear in that situation, and I talked to Mark McLemore about this. He's coming on the show on Friday, but and he fears in that situation that it was, the All-Star game in 2004, and Ichiro was rude to me one time, and I'm not voting for that kind of thing.
Yeah.
You hope not, but it's definitely a possibility, and we have heard of situations like that in the past.
Well, that was a knock against Ted Williams.
Yes.
He was bad to the media, so people didn't vote for him. Come on. Now, I mean, that was a different era, of course.
Yeah.
But now, you hope it's a mistake. I'm not poking fun at Evan, but in 2008, Dustin Pedroia won the MVP award and was not on Evan Grant's ballot, and he wrote, "I just completely forgot Pedroia." All right, okay, all right. So hopefully somebody just didn't check the box. It was like, oh, of course I'm going to do Ichiro, whatever, and just send it.
Didn't you ever get to it?
So you hope that's the case. And I don't know. Some people in the past have filed blank ballots as like a protest to, I don't know what the hell they're protesting.
Yeah.
But
Paper?
I don't know if a blank ballot would have counted against them. But it is curious to know, and hopefully this person comes out. There are some writers out there who just file some whack ballots, but to, and again, and we were talking about it at the end of the show yesterday. It's like, how could you vote against Ichiro? The only thing I can think of is he didn't hit for much power, but he was an unbelievable hitter. 30,000 hits. That's just here too.
Right.
Forget about the 1,200 he had in Japan.
Yeah.
So ton of hits, ton of stolen bases, Gold Gloves. You just didn't run on Ichiro. So I think that that's a shame. It really is, and hopefully it gets resolved, because I think transparency is very important. I mean, transparency is important in journalism. You're not seeing a lot of that if you watch the cable news outlets. I mean, shoot, they're getting sued now. CNN just got sued for defamation, and ABC had to settle with Trump a defamation lawsuit, and they haven't really reported it.
No, it's amazing. Yeah,
they're out making wild accusations still. So anyway, hopefully we get who the person's name. You have an option on your ballot to make your vote public 2 weeks after it's announced, and of course I check yes, even though I already have done it on social media and our website.
Yeah.
But my God, just be accountable, be a journalist. Don't run and hide. If you don't believe he's a Hall of Famer, then make your case. All right. And take whatever you're gonna get.
Come what
return,
may.
All right.
Come what may, brother. Yeah.
But do it. You believed in it. So stick your neck out there and explain why.
Yeah. And again, to your point on the Evan Grant thing, I mean, they came at him with both barrels.
But
again,
Evan wrote it. He's like, I just completely forgot. He didn't shy away from it.
He wasn't trying to say
it was me.
He wasn't
I
worthy.
screwed up.
Yeah. He just said, he screwed up. So, and I did forget, Misty, that Ichiro got his final 2 hits here. That's cool.
Oh, okay.
I forgot that. That's really cool. So let's look at a couple of videos first. We'll look at the Ichiro one when he found out with a special guest yesterday that he would be a part of the Hall of Fame.
I have a special guest on the phone right now who's standing by, actually, to say something to you. Hey, special guest, would you like to say something to the newly elected Hall of Famer, Ichiro Suzuki?
Congratulations, Ichiro. Truly deserved. I am happy. I can't tell you, my wife is running around when she found out that you got the call. It is an honor. I can't wait to see you. Just one thing, you're bringing the sake, because that's what the rookies have to do. You're now a rookie for the first time in 25 years. So I expect a nice bottle of sake for both of us.
George, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Ken, thank you. So it had to be an amazing moment for you, Ken, to see Ichiro. You knew he was going to go in, but to actually see him, your teammates, celebrate like this, pretty great for you too, right, Ken?
Yeah, I mean, I was nervous on my day, and just sitting there, uh, I was just as nervous for him because he's such a great ball player on and off the field. Does so many things for the community that people don't know about, and just it's a true honor for another Mariner to be in the hall. So now I have company, other than Edgar. We can now have a little group meeting. We have the president, the treasurer, and now secretary. So we're good now. We can hold business meetings there.
I bet you will. I bet you will. Ken, thank you so much for hopping on.
Thanks, George.
That's so great. And, one of the highlights of it was Ichiro calling Ken Griffey Jr., who everybody calls Junior or Ken, George. Yeah. And there's got to be a story. I called Mac to find out, do you know the story? He doesn't, but he's got a story about what Ichiro calls him, which he's going to tell us on Friday. So very cool. And how about Ken Griffey when they take that tighter shot of him? He didn't need Foco to decorate the wall behind him.
Right.
He's got all the gold gloves back there. Jeez, how cool is that?
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
What a career he had. And he wasn't unanimous either. So.
No, I know. And that's another annoying one. Yeah. Anyway, I thought that was great.
It was great. It was great. The Sabathia, it's kind of like all right.
Yeah.
There's not like a huge celebration of CC Sabathia.
And he tweeted this morning that he woke up and he's like, wow, yeah, I wasn't dreaming yesterday. And I mean, it was one of those things for me with Sabathia. You're gonna make it, whether he made it on first ballot or not. Seemed to be the only question, and he did. And good for him. I mean, I think part of the thing was he was wildly popular among teammates and really among the media. I mean, he was a Pied Piper type when especially to the players, but wherever he went, everybody just loved him and sort of hung out in his wake and in his path.
Yeah, Mike Maddox had him for half a year in Milwaukee when the Brewers acquired him. What was it, 2008, and he came over from Cleveland and just shoved for the Brewers and almost pitched him into the second round of the playoffs. And he's kind of speaking of the great teammate thing. He basically gave up $500,000 incentive clause one year late in his career because he hit a guy, because that's what he thought the game called for to defend his teammates.
Wow.
So he hit the guy, sacrificing $500,000 but doing the right thing as a teammate. So that's pretty cool. But I thought the coolest one was Billy Wagner.
There is no doubt. We talked about it yesterday. He was in his final year of eligibility. You get 10. There are other ways to get on in after you're 10, but man, that 10th year. And we talked about the 9 other guys yesterday who had made it on their last ballot, some of them really big names in my world, including Edgar Martinez, who Ken Griffey Jr. just referenced. But anyway, Billy Wagner got in on his 10th ballot. They mentioned the call to Ichiro. Here's the call to Billy Wagner.
Hello? Hello?
Sui generis.
This is him.
One of a kind. Uniqueness. Here's a look at what made Ichiro, Ichiro. Behold the warrior. Weaponry raised and eyes focused. The mind like a mountain lake. Calm, clear, deep. That's a flash of the bat. The ball is headed for the automobiles.
Thank you.
Like an eagle in the air, or a fish in the sea.
Watched it 5 times today, and I got chills that time too. I love that reaction. That's unbelievable.
Yeah, and he let some of the media into his home. That video is from Jose Ortiz down there in Houston, longtime Astros guy. But yeah, that's great. It shows you what this means to him, to be among the best at your position. I mean, I think it comes down to that for Wagner, because he threw 900 innings. He didn't hit 1,000 innings, but baseball has become specialized over the last Yeah, really starting with the DH.
Sure.
And DH and closer are positions that are very poorly represented in the Hall of Fame. And when you look at closers and you look at Billy Wagner's numbers, and it's like, golly, this guy's really good. You know? And he had some monster seasons. He pitched for contenders. When I started evaluating his case a little deeper, it just made too much sense to not have him on there. And he got on the ballot before I started voting. So, it's grown over time for sure. And he's worthy. I voted for Francisco Rodriguez, who I also think is worthy. He's only at 10% now. This is his second or third year, so he's got some work to do. But who knows what's going to happen by year 10?
Yeah,
if it's anything like Billy Wagner.
Billy had 73.8% of the vote last year. You need 75, 82% of the vote. This 82 and change, I think. But really, really happy to see him in, and really happy to see that reaction, just that heartfelt transparency. Again, that's what he felt inside, and he knew cameras were rolling. So that's cool. I love that. More coming up as we continue to get you through this day of baseball. We talk about some Rangers minor leaguers who are really being noticed, right? They're getting noticed. The top 100 is out. We'll tell you which Rangers are on it. Also, this team has galvanized maybe more than normal in the offseason. That's coming. It's the DLLS Rangers podcast. But first, so I don't know what Color Fast is, to be honest with you. Color Fast. These are my Shady Rays. They're Color Fast. But maybe what it is that, so I'm kind of weird about sunglasses. If I want them to match what I'm wearing, so if I'm wearing blue, I have a blue pair, and I'll gold and green, whatever. These seem to match everything I wear, so I think that's what Color Fast means. I don't know. Maybe you know. Tell us if you know what Color Fast means. I know this. They block the sun better than any pair I've ever had. They're not expensive. You can get 35% off these polarized sunglasses. They have tons of styles. They're damn near indestructible. You should get yourself a pair of Shady Ray sunglasses as we are about to embark upon a bunch of sunny days here in North Texas. Maybe once this 3-day winter ends, we'll be back to normal. So go to shadyrays.com, get 35% off with the code DLLS.
Well, it's sunny as heck right now.
Yeah.
It's just dang cold.
Yeah, I know.
Here's what'll keep you warm. Some Saturday neon in your man cave, unless it's in your garage that's not heated. Hopefully over your bar. Anyway, Saturday neon, licensed with almost 50 college programs to make these neon signs that are actually neon LED signs. So you don't have to worry about the neon cracking and the sign being ruined and all the gas getting out and all that stuff. So not only are they built for hard use and a long use. I mean, they have a huge hour guarantee and all this stuff. But they look good. They just look great. So use the code DLLS for 10% off at SaturdayNeon.com. They will also make your own sign. So
nice.
if you want to go custom, which I would consider doing, they'll do it for you.
It's beautiful. We encourage you to do that too. I think that'd look awesome almost anywhere. I don't think the LED gives off any heat, unfortunately, for that unheated garage. I think the old neon, it didn't give off a lot of heat, but I think if you put your hand near the old stuff, you'd feel a little heat coming in. Let's talk about the Rangers minor leaguers. The Baseball America Top 100 Prospects is out, Jeff. And the Rangers are well represented in the top, 50 even?
Yeah. They have 3 players all in the top 50, starting with Kumar Rocker at 20, then Sebastian Walcott right behind him at 21, and then Alejandro Rosario at 49. I really like Rosario just as a person. I like the other guys too, don't get me wrong. Rosario, they were all in Arlington over the weekend. The prospects, Rocker was not among them, were there for kind of, and the Rangers have done this maybe the last 4 years or so, kind of like a leadership conference. Guys who could make an impact in the major leagues this year or very, very soon. They have meetings about what it's like to be a big leaguer. And they, they meet with Chris Young, who was a big leaguer, obviously knows what it takes. And they talked with GM Ross Fenstermaker, who congratulations are in order. Ross's wife had their second baby, another girl. So congrats to Ross on that. But I mean, Ross was working right up until the final minute. But yeah, that was over the week, last weekend, and I think Thursday and Friday at Globe Life Field. And so they made some of them available. I talked to Alejandro just because he'd been on the weekly show a couple times, and I'd never met him before, so I wanted to meet him face to face. He's not as big as I thought he was. He's not.
I saw him in the fall in like September when they brought him in.
But anyway, I like the heck out of him. Sebastian Walcott and Malcolm Moore, who's the first round pick, were also there. They did talk formally to the media because they had a camera there. And then I just caught up with all of them because honestly, all of them except for two have been on my podcast, the weekly show. Well, three. Cole Drake has not been on the podcast, so I talked to him. I was also really glad to talk to Anthony Gutierrez, who was the big signee 3 years ago, and he's just dealt with all kinds of injuries. First of all, he's from Venezuela. His English is fantastic now, and I so admire that from guys. He's only 20 still. He had a labrum surgery last season. He's kind of been hampered by injuries. Feels great. He's stronger. So kind of excited to see how he pans out this season. But just a good group of kids. And Ross told me later that of all the groups they've had groups that include Leiter and Rocker, just Josh Young, any top prospect here these last few years. And Ross said that this group asked the most questions and was the most prepared for it, but the most engaged and ready to continue their journeys through the major leagues. So fun group, and it was a good time seeing them. But yeah, I mean, this Baseball America Top 100 list is kind of like the
Bible,
the Holy Grail.
Yeah.
I know that a lot of others do it. MLB Pipeline will be coming out with theirs soon, but pretty good representation for the Rangers.
Yeah, and Walcott, by the way, they're doing that top 10 prospects at each position. And yesterday, the shortstops came out, and he was 4.
That was MLB Pipeline. Yeah.
Pipeline, yeah.
So
4's good,
Yeah.
I mean, there's some good shortstop prospects, and again, some of the best players in the game right now are shortstops. There's a wealth of strength and might at the shortstop position right now. And by the way, I think it was the Pipeline top 10 shortstops in the game right now. Corey was number 1.
I think that was last year's ranking.
Oh, that was last year's. Okay. All right.
Yeah. So they haven't done this year's yet. I think that machine thing that we were talking about last week.
Yeah.
The grinder.
Yeah. That was the one that was making me angry because it didn't have any Rangers anywhere. But yeah, Corey Seager was number 1, and rightly, last year. So yeah, it was. And by the way, on that, bringing the prospects in some form or fashion, they've been doing that for a long time. Because I remember Scott Service had me come in way back when Scott Service was the minor league director, and Scott had me come in 2 or maybe 3 years in a row and talk to the kids about how to handle the media.
Yeah.
And so, and again, it may have come and gone a little bit, but it's wise. I mean, it's really wise. And they give them in those sessions, give them opportunities to know, look, get your money taken care of, all these different kinds of things. And certainly for so many of the kids that come from Latin America, help them make that adjustment to this culture and everything. So,
but it's kind of a shot in the arm for these guys too, especially like a guy like Gutierrez, who hasn't done a whole heck of a lot, but the organization still thinks incredibly highly of them. The pitchers who were there, they headed off to Arizona for a mini camp, which started Monday. Rosario, Cole Drake, who else was there? Skylar Hales was another pitcher who was there. So anyway, a lot of guys, there's a dead period now with minor league players where the organization can't contact them now that they have a union. And so the dead period is over. and the Rangers are hitting the ground running and getting guys out there, getting eyeballs on them. Yeah, these are guys that really could conceivably help this year. Rosario never pitched for Frisco last year after he got called up there, but man, he can dial it up. His
story's great,
and his story's fantastic.
Yeah,
it really is. So Hales, he tops 100 miles per hour. Big, broad-shouldered guy.
Yeah,
his dad was a college swimmer, and obviously he got those genes. Teodo was not there, but Winston Santos was. He's on the 40-man now, Santos. So he's always been a guy who does better his second time around. So I'd imagine he'd start at Frisco this year because he was up. He was a little inconsistent there, but these are guys, and you're going to see them. A couple of questions have popped up here from Kellyman. What position does Walcott end up at? That's a good question. They're going to let him try the shortstop thing as long as they can. He played some third last year at Hickory. I know a lot of people. I don't know about a lot of people, but some in the industry, Baseball America, one of them, thinks he'll end up being a right fielder. He's definitely, athletic for his size.
But he's tall, right?
He's like 6'4".
Yeah,
he looks huge. I thought he was taller because he's only 18. All right, you can still grow. I think he's just been in the weight room and just looks more of a man than he did the first time I interviewed him when he was still 16. So there's that answer to that one. And then Harry, how do we know where Brock Porter is at in his development? Well, Harry, I asked that a couple of weeks ago because Benny had wanted to know. I wanted to know too. It was during the dark period though, but he's throwing in Michigan. Got engaged over the offseason. There were some 5s and 6s on the radar gun, which is a good sign because he'd lost some velocity. It was a big mechanical adjustment, I guess the Rangers had asked him to make, and it just wasn't clicking, and the velocity wasn't coming back. But these are the years that make you tougher, I guess. Just think about kind of at the extreme is Roy Halladay, who came up and nearly threw a no-hitter in his first career start for the Blue Jays, and then the next year they sent him all the way down to Class A. So just everybody comes at their own rate, their own path. It's not always smooth sailing. So I think that Brock, though, is still got a lot of upside that the Rangers see, but they did not have him here this week.
Yeah, and he's a kid. He's a kid. I mean, stop there. He's a kid still. He's so young. He came straight out of high school, so he's their scouts do such a good job. I think you have to trust them. That said, I mean, anybody can sort of, lack of a better word, bust, right?
Yeah.
But I think they've got high hopes still for this young man, and they got him at such a young age. There's plenty of time to develop him. Misty, I think it was, or Natalie was asking, what would CY say if the Rangers are done, or would CY say the Rangers are done? Never. He wouldn't. I mean, we asked Boach about it this weekend, and Boach said, "Oh no, CY's never done." Right, and I know from. I don't know that we've asked that question specifically to CY, but I know what he'd say. Oh, John, no. Yeah, he always uses people's names. He's very kind that way. But he'd say, no. Well, there's so much more to do. We're always looking. Every day we're scouring the rest of Major League Baseball. We're looking at everything. And, he literally would say they're never done. So, and I don't think they are either, right? Like, so that's one thing to say it, and it'd be another thing for us to try and interpret what he really means. I think they'd still like to do more. It's just a matter of what can they do.
Yeah, and going back before Chris Young to John Daniels, we would ask him that, are you done? He goes, well, maybe, it looks like it. I wouldn't be surprised. But they always say we keep an open mind. In 2016, I don't think anybody had him signing Ian Desmond.
No,
that 1-year deal for cheap because Ian was kind of getting screwed over by the qualifying offer tag, and so they signed him at the end of February. And again, Will Smith, March 1st of 23, and just 10 days before that, Robbie Grossman, and both of those guys were pretty key contributors to that World Series team. So anything can happen. Guys start to get released kind of at the end of camp, or they take their outs. Michael Lorenzen last year, March 22nd, the day before camp, and he showed up. He signed his deal and showed up, and ended up having a really nice first half for the Rangers until they decided to trade him. So, we'll see. But yeah, I mean, these guys are always looking.
Yep,
always looking.
No doubt about it. More to come on the show. We've got Roki Sasaki just shoving it in everybody's face. I'm telling you, you're going to be mad about this next. DLLS Rangers podcast. But my favorite shirt, well, one of them.
That's a pretty good one.
I swear every time I wear one, I say it's my favorite.
I think it's the best one.
This one's pretty cool. We encourage you to go get these, and we are truly working on getting some more cool ones like this. Not just DLLS and those types of things. We want to get some that make people look and laugh, maybe chuckle a little bit, and we're working on some of those designs and some of those ideas right now. But in the short term, get these, and that way we'll know you when we see you, just as you know us when you see us. We chatted with a lot of people over the weekend who were at the Fan Fest and who were big fans of the show, and we appreciate them and you, but we want you to get some merch so that we can identify you when we see you each and every time. So go to store.allcitynetwork.com, find out all the different merch that we have. There's lots of it available, and it's really inexpensive and really high quality. So get yourself some merch today.
I'm wearing the DLS shirt with the navy blue with each letter, kind of like resembling the logo of each of our 4 teams in the area. You can get it for free if you become a diehard. Just go to alldlls.com to join. There are buttons everywhere to do it. It's affordable. It's the most affordable deal in the Metroplex for a website that covers all 4 major sports teams daily. I'm telling you, the AP stories pop up every once in a while in the morning news for the Stars, which play just right down the street.
Yeah.
So it's different time in the media, and we are at the cutting edge, not just with our coverage with all these veteran beat writers that we have, but also these shows every day, 5 days a week. We're doing shows for the 4 major sports teams. So alldls.com to become a diehard member.
Yep. No other show in this area would show you this, which we're about to show you, which is Roki Sasaki thumbing his nose at every team that tried. No, it's not really what he was doing, but it kind of feels like it. He's an LA Dodger, as we know. Many thought it was preordained. I don't think it was. That said, it is where he landed. And so, as such, one of the owners of the Dodgers is Magic Johnson. So it wasn't surprising that Roki Sasaki had a chance to meet Magic Johnson. Take a look at the picture.
Oh, there's no picture of Magic, but there's video of him meeting
they got video.
LeBron James last night.
Yes. Yeah. Do we have the LeBron? That video, the picture of him meeting Magic, I was going to say, do you think Roki has any idea who Magic is?
I'm not sure he knows who LeBron James is.
And I wonder that. I mean, it looked like he did. I don't know. Just looking at that video, it looked like he did, but maybe not. He might not be the biggest basketball fan.
Yeah. Japan isn't known for its hoops.
No. That said,
that said, Ohtani's wife plays basketball, and then Roy, God dang it, say it, Hachimura, is that his last name? Yeah, Hachimura, the former Gonzaga star, has Japanese roots, and Sasaki met with him last night. But anyway, I think when it boiled right down to it, there you go.
Yeah, so he not only meets with Hachimura, but that's the LA symbol, right? The L and the A, and so you're doing a hand signal with LA. So, yeah, I mean, that's, there's no doubt Roki knows Hachimura.
I think so.
Yeah.
For sure.
Yeah. Any other professional athlete from Japan that
they
comes
know-
over to the United States to
Right.
play, they know
For
each
sure.
other. And anytime Hachimura comes back, I'm sure they saw each other and those types of things. But anyway, there's Roki Sasaki. Getting used to life in LA. He really does look like a kid, doesn't he? There he is with that's what part of what Magic had given him. And again, Magic obviously a part owner of the Dodgers, so I think he probably does know. He's probably heard of, but maybe he doesn't know who Magic Johnson is, other than that he's a part owner of the Dodgers.
Well, like if
right?
he'd signed with the Raptors and they'd sent him to a Raptors game, who would they have met? Who would they have called out?
Drake.
Grady Dick?
No,
Oh,
Drake.
Okay.
Yeah. Drake.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, and then
he'd have been okay with Drake. I imagine. I don't know. I think he'd have been okay with Drake. But yeah, good point. I mean,
the Mavs could have gone pretty hard with Luka and Kyrie if they were healthy enough to do it.
Yeah. And Luka being
canes.
another international guy might have resonated, perhaps. As you're growing up, thinking you're going to be an international player who comes to the United States, you might look at others who have done it not only well, but done it at a young age.
Yeah.
And certainly Luka Doncic is among those. So, no, it was actually pretty cool.
Yeah.
It was pretty cool to see.
Although I don't think he
Roki
looked
do that.
really comfortable. He was just kind of sitting there by himself, waiting for LeBron, who he probably didn't know. And, wasn't going to understand a word that LeBron said.
Right.
So, I don't know. It was definitely forced. It felt forced.
I was surprised that, just seeing video and pictures of LeBron the other night at the which game was he? Was he at one of the NFL games?
No, he's at the college football game. Ohio
that's
State
what it was.
guy.
Ohio State guy. He was at the Ohio State game. And anyway, he's so big, right? He looks like a football player. He didn't look as big. Maybe it's because Sasaki's bigger than I think.
Maybe.
But he didn't.
I don't know.
He didn't
That
look.
has a camera angle.
Yes, probably was. He didn't look that big as he met Sasaki last night. So anyway, Roki Sasaki's a Dodger. That's too bad. But now we can just root for him to fail.
No.
Oh, and I'm kidding. I really don't root
Easy,
for
BC.
Yeah, sorry, BC.
Don't make BC too
Yeah,
fired up.
I don't mean to make you mad, BC. No, I don't root for anybody, literally, to fail unless they're a super bad guy. I'll name names one of these days, but I never have. It's you want all these guys to have success, as we always say, just not when they're playing the Rangers. Unfortunately, the Dodgers and Rangers, they'll only meet 3 times this year. Will they meet?
It's early in the season too. It's in
3.
It's in May
until the World Series.
It might be June.
I said
June
it
last year, May this year.
Until the World Series.
There you go, John.
7 games.
Yeah.
We'll see. Okay, so somebody just mentioned Paul Skenes.
BC.
And did he?
Already putting out the welcome mat in a few years for
that's
Paul
good.
Skenes.
Yeah. And by the way, so who asked about Clayton Kershaw? He's got no interest in leaving the Dodgers. He's going to be one of those guys. Yeah. It'd be lovely if there was any place he'd go, it would be here. But he's not leaving. He wants to be.
He said at the end of the year, I'm going to finish up here.
Yeah.
So.
He's just going to finish it as an LA Dodger, and there's a charm and I love that in so many ways. Right? There's so few that do it in this day and age, in the age of free agency, in literally any sport.
Right.
That it's great. I love that Clayton Kershaw is going to be a Dodger for life.
I mean, does anybody remember Tony Dorsett as a Bronco?
No, or how about Emmitt Smith as a Phoenix Cardinal?
Right.
Give me a break. Yeah. So, all right. But speaking of Paul Skenes, that card, the card that had his rookie major league debut, I should say, patch on it was discovered by an 11-year-old kid. That card right there, there's one of those. One for every guy who made their debut last year. This was a Topps initiative last year. I did a feature on it, and a few of the guys who had their debut cards, were kind of on the Rangers, who were kind of out there putting out the word, hey, we'll make it worth your while. Evan Carter didn't have a debut card, but he did. There was a 1-of-1 from him in the World Series in 2023.
Right.
A guy in Detroit or the Detroit area found it, and Evan made a nice trade with him, and the guy got, goods for it and that. But this, this is different, man. I don't know that I've noticed or seen anybody catch up with one of the debut cards yet that actually has that patch on the card.
Yeah, well, no, definitely not with the star power of Skenes, you know.
Right.
And
yeah, you're right. Good point.
You know,
so
I would imagine that I don't know. I'm trying to think of somebody who made their debut for the Rangers this year who wasn't particularly great. Maybe like Colwyn.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
if they even issued one of those cards. But anyway, it's great that a kid got it.
It is
not a dealer. Not, you know, this kid just apparently opened up a pack and woof, there it was.
There it was.
You know,
And
that's magic. That's the way it should be with the way cards are priced these days. And, you know, case breaks and all of that stuff that go on. It's good that a kid got it.
And he's a Southern California kid, so he won't be able to take advantage of what the Pittsburgh Pirates offered to get that card back in Pittsburgh. Now, here it is, right? This was offered before they knew who had it. This was out there. 2 season tickets behind home plate for 30 years.
Yeah.
Meet and greet with Skenes, 2 autographed Skenes jerseys, a softball game at PNC Park, and coaching from Pirates alumni. Look at all that. Spring training tour and some experiences at their Florida homes and taking BP and warming up with the team. I mean, that's value. Like, can you imagine if something like that was ever in an auction or something, how much it would go
for? He should take the offer because, you know.
Take the tickets.
Now, where are the season tickets, though? You
right behind home plate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Boom.
Absolutely. And
game time.
That's
every night.
Every night.
Game time.
You could sell them through a third party, and the other thing is, you know, the kid's 11, but if I'm that kid, you know, when I'm at least 11 years from now, I'd still have 19 years left on my season tickets. 11 years from now, I'm moving to Pittsburgh.
Go
right?
to Pitt. You know,
that's right. Move there in 7
there.
years.
Yeah.
Move there in 7 years and do internships during the summer. But anyway, pretty cool that this young man was able to find that. And
that's great.
Yeah, I love everything about it. And I was just aghast and agog on the offer that the Pirates made. I haven't seen anything even close to that from these other guys that have those out there. So. And again, this is a guy who's otherworldly talent, and who brought it up and is soon going to be a Ranger.
Right.
Just a few more years.
Yeah.
Just we'd love it. We'd love it. We'll see what happens. So, and then our buddy Martin Perez,
yay,
has finalized. We brought it up 2 or 3 weeks ago. Whenever the White Sox first said they were going to sign Martin, but he's got a 2-year deal. Basically, he's got a year, 1+1. I think it's a player option.
But I mean, he's going to get traded at the deadline.
Probably.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
That's fine. Yeah.
Yeah.
Some questions. Bill, our buddy Bill down in Round Rock, Austin area, they're having their caravan stop tomorrow in Round Rock, and we are not going to be able to make it because we have a engagement here with some of our potential sponsors. So, hey, anybody wants to sponsor the show?
Yeah,
let us
love
know.
that.
Absolutely. Yeah. Where else we got? Bruce, what would the Rangers need to give up for Class A? I think it starts with Sebastian Walcott, to be honest. I mean, I think that's where the
well, and maybe a major league pitcher.
Yeah, I think
right?
that's where the Guardians would go with that.
Yeah.
So I don't know if the Rangers would go for that one though. You never know with these prospects.
No.
And so hey,
it's so cringeworthy when you just think about, and again, at the time to get Corey Kluber, but we knew, everybody in the organization knew, all of us that watched Class A knew, man, this dude's special, right? Well, you could see it.
Yeah, I mean, he debuted in the 19 season, and one of his first appearances was at Progressive Field.
That's right.
And I think it was a game Kluber started, so the Rangers were getting smoked, and Clase came in and just wiped him out.
Yep.
And after the game, the Indians were just in awe of what he had done. So at that moment, I think they're like, good Lord, we got to get this guy. And they found a way to do it for Corey Kluber and Delino DeShields. And, well, that didn't work out. But, Clase, he has such a friendly deal. He signed through 26. with options for 27 and 28. So basically, you'd be getting them for 4 years at dirt cheap prices. You would have to give up some goods though. This is a guy who, regardless of what he did in the postseason, he finished third in the Cy Young voting, and I would say, I don't know. I do think that it would have to be Walcott to just kind of thinking off the top of my head. At least that's what, if I'm the Guardians, that's what I'm asking for. Now maybe that's not how the deal turns out, but anyway, I don't know about that one. Dean did respond. It's 5:19 a.m. Thursday morning.
Okay, so now it's
Tasmania,
6. Now
Australia.
it's 6. Yeah.
So now we're going up on 6. So
and
anyway.
Misty did some research. I'm trying to look it up right now.
Oh, yeah.
She says it's George Kenneth Griffey Jr.
Well, there you go.
So there you go. Thank you for that,
Well,
Misty.
Nolan Ryan's first name is Lynn. That's
right.
Yeah.
And so, but you know what Junior said to Ichiro afterwards, only my dad and you get to call me George. That's it. Nobody calls me George, but Ichiro is allowed. So anyway, fun show. Always fun chatting with you. Thanks for writing us and keeping us on the right track. And we'll look forward to doing this again tomorrow. We're here Thursday and Friday. We got Mark McLemore joining us on Friday right here on the DLLS Rangers podcast.
We all silly like the mayor.